One of the things that I've mentioned in my written blog and maybe mentioned in my video, but I don't think so in talking about 575, is that even though it's interstate, at this point the interstate's ended and we're coming into Jasper, Georgia, 6 miles away, and the road doesn't look any different, I'm sure, on video. But the fact is now that it's turned to what's called 515, and the limited access to the road has come to an end. And so now you've just got regular streets with stop signs and traffic lights and so forth entering into this piece of road. And so now the situation has changed in that now I've got to start, when I'm riding, looking for cars that are pulling out of side streets and all of that kind of stuff. We're coming into Jasper, Georgia now, and this is a nice mountain town in Georgia, and this is usually my first stop as I ride into the mountains. We're about 40 miles from where I started, and this store here on the right called Quick Trip is a very nice, clean store. We've got these all over North Georgia and probably elsewhere, but it's a great place to stop, warm up, get a cup of coffee, put some gas in the bike, and usually my butt is sore by the time, or beginning to get numb by the time I get to this point in the trip. We're beginning to get more into the mountains now, and the trees are denser and the development's a little bit lighter between the towns, so this will give you a sense of what the mountains look like here and what the forest looks like. One of the things worth noting about this road is some of you that may live outside the United States or don't live near this area will think, well, this is a great place that road looks like a great road to go as fast as you want to. And there might have been a time when that was possible in part. But today the speed limits are enforced pretty vigorously through all of this roadway. The budgets of all the counties that we're passing through are under distress, and one of the ways the police fund themselves is by writing tickets, and they're not speed traps, and that's not the case. People really in the past drove way over the speed limit, and you've got to be exceeding the speed limit materially to get pulled over. If it's a 65 mile an hour section, which this is, you're probably going to have to be going 70 to 75 miles an hour to get pulled over. But it's not a place where you can get on your motorcycle and go 110 miles an hour. You'd get arrested for that if you got stopped. So while this is a beautiful, smooth piece of paved road, concrete, great for high speed on a motorcycle, and people do it, don't get me wrong, people do come through here very fast, but the speed limit is enforced, and so it's not a free-for-all. So as you see the cars around me, you see people are driving at relatively moderate speeds. I'm going 65 miles an hour, that's the speed limit. Generally I'll drive, not terribly more than 5 miles greater than the speed limit, just because I really don't want to get a ticket and cause my insurance rates to go up. So that's kind of the deal on speeding and speed particularly in this state in the United States. We're now approaching Ellijay, Georgia, which is 4 miles away. The next town after Ellijay that I would normally go through to get up to North Carolina, where North Carolina is usually my destination because I've got my family, my wife and I have some land up there. I often will go up there and camp, but today Ellijay will be the last town we go through, and then I'm going to turn off the street and head toward one of the state parks that I had headed toward on my motorcycle, which was going to be my second motorcycle video blog, but I ran out of battery, had some problems with the video that I didn't like anyhow, and so today I'm going to head that way again. And one of the things I saw on that trip that I'm going to explore today was a recreation area that I'd never heard of that appears to be a federal recreation development as opposed to a state development, and it had a gravel forest road. So I'm going to videotape that and we'll both see it together for the first time today. Coming into the older part of Ellijay, Georgia, we'll actually go through a little town squares. This is a really nice town, and some of the stuff that we've driven through so far today, when I mention these towns, it seems like they're just spots on the side of the expressway, because you've got to get off the road to see, you know, the original development of the town where it developed, you know, decades ago, and when people's lives were more centered around the town squares. All these towns, you know, look for ways to keep the downtown, the square alive with restaurants and things like that will bring people back into these town squares. But they compete, of course, like in every town, with the Walmart development and the strip centers that we went by. But you know, this is what I'd want you to see about these towns, is this gives you a little bit more of a feel for the character of a town like Ellijay, Georgia. And there's a sign coming up, I believe, that acknowledges Fort Mountain State Park. Yes, the brown sign indicates that we're on the right way to Fort Mountain State Park. We are now heading towards Chatsworth, Georgia, and we're getting up in the mountains now. And we have some nice straightaway. These people have a teepee. All of these corners go into the shadows, and they don't dry out, and they can be icy. So they definitely give you something to think about. Oops, this is the turn I wanted. Sorry about that. It says Wildlife Resources Division and Forest Service Road 18. I've never been in here before. This is where I stopped last time because I was on my motorcycle, and I can tell I made the right choice. It's a smooth road, and I actually think the motorcycle very slowly could handle this road, but I didn't know what I was going to get into, and you never know how a road like this is going to change from moment to moment, particularly if there's been rain or bad weather. So I just didn't want to ride this road for the first time on a street bike.